Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about whether it's worth moving to Canada. This may sound like a strange question, but when we made the big decision to move here, a lot of people asked us why. It was a no-brainer to us. We saw it as why not? Canada has such a great reputation, friendly people, amazing landscapes, good economy. What's not to like? If you have the opportunity, go for it.
Now that we are here in Canada, we wanted to make a video on whether it was all worth it. A lot of people think that if you have a great job where you live, a nice social scene, family around you, and some good friends, why would you shift your life across the world to a completely new place where you may have no contacts, no family, and no one nearby to lean on to help you out? It's a fair point, and it's a really big deal to emigrate, which is why most people don't do it. But for those of us who choose to do it, is it worth the hassle?
So let's look at some of the main issues people come across when they move here. There is no denying that it really isn't straightforward to come to Canada. No matter which route you take, what your skills are and what your background is, there is still going to be a huge amount of paperwork and you will be spending a lot of money.
We moved here via the express entry route as federal skilled workers. This process involved paying for many things, including language tests, assessments of our academic credentials, police checks in several countries, medicals, biometrics, government fees, and that's not even including the flights to get here, buying a car, shipping our belongings from our home country, or paying an immigration consultant or lawyer. Don't be fooled that you'll be able to cut corners and do it on the cheap. There's no getting around the vast majority of these costs, so be prepared for some big spending.
And of course, you have the logistical issues at the other end, selling your house or getting out of a tenancy agreement, packing and shipping all of your belongings, potentially uprooting your children, saying goodbye to your friends and family. These are all real challenges and definitely things that you will need to consider. Unless you move here from the US, Canada is a long way from everywhere. Flights are expensive, especially if you're coming from Europe and you've gotten used to moving around freely on low-cost flights.
But as with so many things like this, you can simply look at it as a matter of perspective and perhaps a need to change your mindset. Yes, flights are not cheap, both within Canada, especially within Canada, and to travel outside of Canada, but it depends where you're moving from and what kind of lifestyle you lead. If you come from an island nation like the UK, to get pretty much anywhere else you have to fly. Yes, you can drive to Spain, but who's having fun on that drive?
In Canada, flying is not the culture. People here drive everywhere. They load up their cars, they go on road trips, they go camping. Many Canadians wouldn't think twice about driving 7 or 8 hours to go home for Christmas, or driving 4 hours for a day skiing. So honestly, the issue of expensive flights is not such a problem, mainly because people don't really do much flying. If you want to fly back and visit family, then understand that it probably won't be very frequent and you might have to save up for it.
Another popular thing to complain about here is the high taxes. And while it's true that Canada does have some of the highest personal income taxes in advanced economies, it again very much depends on where you're moving from and what you're used to. Canada taxes its richest earners 33%, compared to 37% for the richest Americans. This may seem like a lot if you're used to paying 10% tax or even living tax-free, but bear in mind that higher taxes often mean higher wages, so it's not always directly comparable, and many other countries in the world have much higher rates, such as Austria, who tax their richest residents a whopping 55%.
Something else we have come across and luckily had prepared ourselves for is the cost of both renting and buying. Of course, the cost of buying a house varies depending on which part of the country you are in, but in general, and especially in the west of Canada and in the bigger cities, house prices are out of control, and there are no signs of it slowing down. Despite their obvious appeal, this is one of the reasons many people choose not to settle in the big cities, because they will simply never be able to afford to buy a home.
The average house price in Toronto is currently just over $1.1 million, with the average price of a condo being $715,000. And Vancouver is even more expensive, with average house prices at $1.5 million, and don't expect any change out of $2 million for a detached house.
That being said, these prices do not reflect the situation across the whole country. Far from it. You can buy a condo in the Okanagan Valley for $400,000, while in St. John's, Newfoundland, the average house selling price is just over $300,000, making it Canada's most affordable place to buy a home.
Housing is something you may have to compromise on, and you have to decide whether you're willing to do that. Chances are you could get a lot more for your money in your home country than here in Canada, but if you love where you live, perhaps that's a compromise you'll be happy to make.
Another thing people fixate on in Canada is the weather. We have heard people say that they planned to move to Toronto, but when they got there, it was far too cold. It's so easy these days to research where you're planning to move to. A simple internet search will tell you that in winter, the temperature in Toronto can drop to -40°C. So if that's too cold, rethink your plans. If you're moving from Delhi to Toronto, prepare yourself for the extreme temperature difference and come with suitable clothing.
Unlike many other nationalities, Canadians embrace the winter. As well as skiing, snowboarding and sledding, expect public ice skating rinks everywhere, cross-country skiing, dog sledding. We thoroughly research where we plan to move, the climate, the cost of living, the education system, the different neighbourhoods and so on and so forth. So honestly, there weren't many surprises.
Some of the other standout benefits of living in Canada are the superb quality of life, the exceptionally clean air, the huge open spaces and the accessibility to the outdoors, the wonderful views, Canada's welcoming attitude to immigrants, a universal healthcare system, the genuinely friendly and helpful people, free education for your kids, and plenty of public holidays, which means lots of time off and a very healthy work-life balance.
And on the flip side of the expense of most things, another wonderful thing we've found is the number of free activities available here. From the fantastic library just down the road, to the toy lending library, to the free public ice skating, sledding and summer events and festivals, you can live a relatively cheap life once you take housing and cars and groceries out of the equation. And for those on a budget, the second-hand market in Canada is superb, so don't worry about shipping all your belongings. Quite literally anything you need will be available here for a fraction of what it would cost new.
We would say that if you do your research before you come and make sure that you are well informed, there aren't too many surprises in Canada. You need to come prepared and make sure you are ready for the challenges faced by all immigrants when they arrive in a new country. How to buy a car, how to open a bank account, where are the best supermarkets, where the best schools are, which neighbourhoods should you live in, what's the exchange rate. The better prepared you are, the easier you will find the transition to living in Canada.
Moving to Canada costs a lot of money. There is no way of getting around that. But provided you have the means to do it, for us there is no question that it's worth it. The living costs are higher than where we moved from, not just for rental and house prices, but also phone contracts and car insurance. But we knew that before arriving, and the other costs incurred by the move were one-offs. Once they're done, you can get on with living your Canadian life.
Canada is a truly wonderful country and lives up to all the hype. It provides an incomparable quality of life with an endless choice of sports and outdoor fun, great schooling, 4 very distinct and brilliant seasons, and enough holiday destinations to suit even the most intrepid traveller.